Reflecting on a summer long past, perhaps at 11 or 12 years of age, the narrator recounted a solitary bike ride to a secret hideout, their friend absent due to a harsh lesson learned on a treacherous hill. As they pedaled along the winding path towards the wooden bridge, a sense of impending significance silently colored the memory, acknowledging that this journey was more than it seemed. Nostalgically, their gaze fell upon our spot, a real excavation deeper within the dense foliage, marked by a wooden crate and bottles, a cherished summer hideaway that, despite offering little refuge from rain, was truly great in good weather. As they carefully widened the raccoon's old entrance, a sharp ow escaped them, a small drop of blood welling on their finger from a hidden thorn. Resting back in the familiar excavation, their gaze drifted upwards with a soft smile, recalling the worn-out comics and stashed magazines they knew by heart. With no particular aim for the day beyond escaping the noise of others, they found a quiet peace, simply noticing how the sunlight dappled their skin. Settled back into the familiar surroundings, their gaze seemed to turn inward for a moment before a subtle sensation surfaced. With closed eyes and a soft sniff, they began to discern a new, distinct presence in the air around them. A deeply familiar scent, one they recognized instantly, brought a troubled furrow to their brow. Their gaze became worried as they silently questioned how that person could have possibly found them, a hushed "Larry" escaping their lips. A familiar, unsettling face emerged from the foliage, its eerie hi quickly followed by their own startled "GH" as they recoiled in fright. They frantically pedaled away, an intense grimace etched on their face, only to later sit on the general store steps, bottle in hand, reflect on the peculiar encounter they knew they'd never speak of. As the instruction to prepare sharp pencils for the test was given, one student sharpened theirs with an eager grin, a hopeful, yet somewhat lonely, readiness in their eyes. Nearby, another kept their gaze somber and downcast, a quiet resignation in their posture, clearly aware of the whispered truth that they were not liked by anyone in the class. Noticing their intense focus on the sharpening pencil, a concerned voice quietly asked if something was amiss. Though another nearby figure recoiled, bothered by an unpleasant scent, the one sharpening denied any trouble with a brief, "No, I'm all right," their gaze still fixed downwards. Leaning forward with a concerned gaze, the speaker observed the intense stillness of the figure before them, noting how breathless they seemed. Their voice softened as they reiterated their earlier question, wondering if something was truly wrong. The figure, eyes lowered in intense concentration on the pencil, insisted they were all right despite the underlying tension. From the side, an observing figure countered sharply, knowing the palpable, unsettling truth was far from resolved. Turning away in a huff, the figure could only gasp a sharp command for silence, clearly flustered by the unprompted observation. From across the aisle, a mischievous grin spread as another pointed out their watering eyes, while in the distance, a figure's head comically steamed under the pressure of concentration. With wide, open eyes and an earnest smile, they looked directly out, reflecting on how they never went out of their way to be mean to Larry. Holding a glowing pencil, they quietly acknowledged their own time as a misfit, speculating that this shared experience was why Larry always tried so hard to be their friend, perhaps even the very reason they were telling this story now. A direct gaze questioned the origin of some scratches at the dinner table, receiving a brief, evasive answer about berry bushes. While one figure quietly folded a cloth, the person bringing a hot dish from the kitchen seemed lost in thought, lamenting that a past incident couldn't be forgotten amidst current events. As they asked about the day, a solemn voice shared news of a fatal accident on Rainbow Lane where a boy was killed. The seated figure's eyes widened in a dawning, pained realization as a puff of smoke ascended, mentally connecting the tragedy to Dennis who lived there. The speaker shared details about the accident victim, noting they were about the listener's age and wondering if they knew them. As the listener continued serving the steaming meal, their gaze softened, a quiet wave of relief washing over them that the victim wasn't the specific person they had worried about. Mid-meal, their wide, suddenly fearful eyes fixed as the question hung in the air. Did they know Larry Eastling? The steaming food on their fork dripped forgotten, a chilling premonition settling deep within them. With a question about the victim's past reputation hanging in the air, the details of how they were chased into a truck's path were somberly recounted, the storyteller's gaze downcast. The central figure, meanwhile, found their eyes fixed on the uneaten meal, the whole evening a blur of dull roars and a cold, heavy feelings settling in their gut. A figure, searching through a closet, explained that an outgrown suit would be donated for Larry's burial due to the family's financial struggles. As the solemn news was delivered, others watched with varied expressions of distress and confusion, while a younger figure listened intently, their gaze thoughtful as they brought a hand to their chin, letting the gravity of the announcement settle upon them. The crushing reality of a life lost, a first experience with death, sent their mind reeling, replaying every minor cruelty ever inflicted or witnessed. Despite attempts to rationalize, the deep awareness of another's endured loneliness, mirroring their own past hurts, brought a heavy admission of guilt. Looking down with a solemn expression, the stark truth remained: they were culpable, and Larry was gone. As if replaying a past moment, they watched a younger figure run, eyes wide with a startling question about Larry. A hand reached out, silently wondering if death truly caused pain. Watching a younger figure run with wide eyes, a memory surfaced of the undeniable, searing pain of being hit by a truck. Their hands, gripping the steering wheel tight in the present, mirrored the lingering shock and hurt of that past event. Lying awake, a disturbing essence, perceptible only to them, increasingly filled their room. Unable to ignore it any longer, they finally rose to confront its chilling source within the dark closet, their bare feet echoing a visceral memory of what it meant to be truly gone. Waking with a gasp, wide, disbelieving eyes fixed on the figure before them, they barely managed to utter a name, acknowledging the chilling realization that this person was dead. The spectral presence calmly confirmed their passing, noting the absence of a disturbing essence before fading, leaving behind a lingering regret and a quiet hope that their past denial remained a secret.